And mindfulness is so powerful. And
Oh, yeah.
the Journal of Behavioral Medicine and the Journal of Dermatology recently partnered to demonstrate in a clinical setting that practicing various mindfulness moments throughout the day, journaling, breath work, focusing on your five senses for as little as 30 seconds to 2 minutes throughout the day. So you don't need to sit and meditate for 2 hours because I think that can be really overwhelming for people.
Yeah.
Those micro moments add up and cortisol goes down, inflammation goes down, and they literally visibly saw results in people's skin from practicing those little mindful moments.
Welcome back to PCOS Unfiltered, where we ditch the one-size-fits-all advice. I'm your host, Lindsay, nurse turned health coach, two-time author, and your body wisdom guide. Here, I help you understand the messages behind your symptoms so you can stop fighting your body and start working with it. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to invite you to join us inside the Healthy Ever After community. It's where the podcast comes to life with weekly body wisdom tips, recipes, exclusive resources, conversations with women on the same journey, and monthly challenges with fun giveaways. In fact, we kicked off our very first community challenge this month, and it's not too late to be a part of it. If you're only listening to the podcast, you're missing half the experience. You'll find the link to join the Healthy Ever After community in the show notes. Now, today's guest is Jodi Scott, co-founder of Green Goo. She began her career studying medicine and health psychology before working with physicians to help patients take a more whole person approach to health. After witnessing firsthand how plant-based remedies could transform lives, she teamed up with her mom and sister to build a company dedicated to making natural first aid products available to more people. Now, let's go ahead and get comfy, maybe grab something to take some notes, and let's dive in. Here is my conversation with Jodi Scott. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of women with PCOS, now PMOS, do experience skin issues. I know a big one that I wish I could find more of an expert on, but it's called HS or hidradenitis suppurativa. There's a big tie to PCOS that I don't think is like well known. I know I see it in the ER a lot. I actually have had a guest that had it and she had PCOS, but they do experience a lot of skin issues. And I mean, of course, the acne, is another big one tied to the excess androgen, the male hormones. Could even just be sensitivities, irritation. So, what are some of the I guess maybe other things that you hear, see, with everything that you do, in ways that this can show up in the skin for women, whether it's PCOS or not.
I love that you bring up HS. We have a number of customers that come to us asking for help there. And I'm still looking on how to crack this code. I'm
Yeah.
finding that a lot of our customers benefit from our eczema oil and then interesting our poison ivy balm. And so trying to understand how those herbs are interacting. I will say in the eczema oil, it's a high concentration of the chamomile flower. And what we're finding is that the chamomile flower, when brought in through the skin, has some of the same impact of taking it orally, is that it calms the nervous system. And so it's dropping the cortisol. And then by simply dropping the cortisol, we're seeing a positive impact on that reduced inflammation and how it's presenting itself in the skin. And so, again, kind of like highlighting the deep connection that our skin and our nervous system has. And so, yes, we see a lot of the inflammation, the discoloration in the skin irritations, the dry, especially on an intimate level, the dryness and low sensitivity. And what's interesting in terms of one, eliminating those chemicals, which of course in personal care products, or excuse me, intimate personal care products, it's so pervasive. And it's such a highly absorbent area in our skin.
Yeah.
And so when you go back to rebuilding that microbiome, and reducing that inflammation. You also like increase sensitivity, which is kind of cool, and lubrication and moisture, just as a direct response to feeding the skin the nutrients that it needs and building that microbiome back up.
Mm.
So to your point, that's where we're seeing most of it, like the dry skin, and it's just chronic and pervasive. And then unfortunately, again, by feeding it the chemicals, the alcohol, the parabens, the fragrances, you're just kind of contributing to that negative feedback loop.
Mm. Yeah. Um, so this can get overwhelming for women because, there's so many things out there, like you've mentioned. What would you say would be like an easy kind of swap, before going crazy and getting obsessive? And then, because even that can make the skin angry, right? When you start removing all this stuff that it's been used to. So, what would you say would be like a
So
good
true.
first step, like, swap to make?
Well, of course, I'm partial to get clean out your first aid cabinet and
Hmm.
start there. And then what's great is if you're replacing it with more nutritional skincare, you're gonna have that available to you. In addition to that, your shampoos, your lotion, think about the things that you are doing more frequently and start there. So, like, lotion is a very common one, and when you can replace that with a nutritional balm, then that's a major touch point that you're having every day. What's
Hmm.
fun about nutritional balms and salves too is that touch is one of the first ways to rebuild your vagal tone, which is kind of like your nervous system response time to like bounce back. And when you're feeding your body in that lane, then you're also feeding that nervous system a little bit more that's helping from a nutritional value. And then I think like plastics at home, in your personal care, in your Tupperware, switching to glass and stainless, and how you're purchasing your food at the store when you can, eliminating those plastics. That's zooming in on just kind of like every day. The things that you touch the most, start there and just kind of work your way out. I will say that if we zoom out, a thing that we do in our home because my daughter's 14, she's being inundated with all the things, right? And it's very overwhelming to think of your wellness journey. And so we came up with this acronym called SHAMAN, and it's like our little North Star. So again, taking that theme of a more holistic approach. So S is adding to the sleep bank, which we actually did last night. My daughter's getting over a not fun cold that went bad. And,
Oh.
I said, okay, everyone, how's the sleep bank? We know that we have not been adding to the sleep bank. Lights out, everyone off their devices, 8 o'clock, very intentional. And when you make that connection of what it feels like to be in a state of rest and recovery, it's really important for your body to find that place. And when you think of that, sleep is more of a bank account than you need to add to it. You'll start to feel what it feels like to feel rested. And that's
Right.
where resilience really comes in.
Yeah.
H
Yeah.
is hydration. We are water. I talk to my customers about this all the time. Like, what's your water intake look like? But it's also like the things we're putting on our body are pulling water out of us. The things that we're eating are pulling water out of us. So when you just think of a simple, like, oh, hydration, when you open up the fridge and you're like, oh, maybe I'll eat some carrots. That's like a natural hydration. You're not looking at it from like a nutritional standpoint, like a hydration standpoint and what not
Mhm.
to drink. And this is really important for my daughter when people are going to the store and they're getting their power drinks or, whatever. And she's like, I'm going to pick something different. And,
Yeah.
um, and then A is antioxidants. And I think diets and fads come in and out. But when you bring antioxidants into your life, it's a pretty consistent science behind it. And you
Mhm.
can think of it from your skincare, you can think about it from your food, think about it from your supplements, antioxidants, your body and your cells are very happy with that. And that also helps from the elimination process because you're like, if that's not giving me antioxidants, then it's probably doing the opposite, oxidizing. It's
Yes.
speeding up cellular death.
Yes.
M is mindfulness, and we kinda talked a little bit about this before we went on,
Mhm.
and mindfulness is so powerful, and
Oh, yeah.
the Journal of, Behavioral Medicine and the Journal of Dermatology recently partnered to demonstrate in a clinical setting that practicing various mindfulness moments throughout the day, journaling, breath work, um, focusing on your 5 senses for as little as 30 seconds to 2 minutes throughout the day. So you don't need to sit and meditate for 2 hours because I think that can be really overwhelming for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those micro moments add up, and cortisol goes down, inflammation goes down, and they literally visibly saw results in people's skin from practicing those little mindful moments. And I think getting present also helps you with that, like discernment of what serves you and what doesn't serve you throughout the day. So it makes it a little less overwhelming when you're at the grocery store and you're like, "Okay, which lotion am I going to buy?"
Mhm.
Like you're building that mental fitness muscle, which
Yeah.
I will add the Yucca app, depending how you say
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Great one, listeners. If you're not using it already, use that app and put it up against the product. It'll immediately pop up and it'll give you a rating in
Mhm.
terms of where it sits from an ingredient standpoint, which
Yeah.
leads me to the next A in shaman, which is avoid. Avoid those ingredients. Um, but it's also avoiding situations and avoiding maybe a person and giving ourselves permission. We live in a time, especially women, where we feel like we have to do everything and it's never enough.
Mhm.
And when you give yourself permission to just avoid in this like really healthy lane, all of a sudden your energy becomes expansive because the things that you were wasting your time and your thoughts and your energy on all of a sudden just opens up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so rewarding. And the last N or the last letter is N, and it's nature because nature has a beautiful way of grounding us and it naturally gets us to those 5 senses very
Mhm.
quickly. And
Yeah.
so I find that this little North Star for us in our home allows us to make a lot of those good decisions throughout the day without feeling like there's another checklist. There's another thing that we need to burden ourselves with, which
Mhm.
to your point just adds to that cortisol load.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. Of course, like the mindfulness piece, because we were just talking about my trip. Um, but yeah, but it's true, even just those little micro moments. And like for me, a big thing that I realized like after coming back from Costa Rica, and like I said, I've been increasing or, incorporating my mindfulness practices, meditation, some journaling, whatever it might be. But I don't think I really realized how often I'm like eating and scrolling on Facebook or, I think I have a few moments and I want to clear my head. So I like put on my Netflix show, but I didn't realize like how much damage that was doing and how sitting in silence actually now is so, so much better. And I feel like I've been so much more productive, of course, because of that. So I love that. I love that acronym that you guys have.
I tell my daughter, I'm like, when you're scrolling, you're actually stimulating your skin and
Mhm.
stimulating your nervous
Yeah.
system. It's real.
Yeah.
And I love that you bring that up because when, the little shaman on our shoulder, for example, you're going to pick up your kiddo from school and you're sitting in the car and you've got 10 minutes because you're waiting in line. We always go to our phones or
Oh,
we
yeah.
have one more phone call.
Yep.
And I've found by just having that, instead of me saying like, I'm going to only be on my screen for X amount of hours because and this is my new commitment. Instead, I just like flow. I'm in that flow state. And so I'm
Mhm.
sitting in the car and I'm like, I'm gonna look at the clouds. I'm gonna like listen to the birds or I'm gonna hear the sound, like again, back to those
Yeah.
5 senses. And all of a sudden that 10 minutes felt like a spa day. Daughter gets in the car and you're like super present instead of kinda that scrolling
Mhm.
of that energy loss that you just lost in that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. And
And
I've also noticed I notice it so much. It's almost like amplified, even if I'm inside and I hear a bird outside, like it's immediately like my mind just goes there. Yeah. It's great. It's, like you said,
it's
times
a
like that.
muscle.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
It really is.
And you
But
invest in the muscle and it
mhm,
finds its way to you. The same way when you work out your physical body, I have found that when you work out that mindfulness muscle,
yeah,
then when you are in a stressful situation, you can ground yourself faster.
exactly.
And when you're in but to your like you said, like, you're in a setting where all of a sudden you can, like, gravitate to that goodness that, like,
Mhm,
cortisol drops, inflammation
exactly.
drops.
Yeah, yep. Um, so I do I do wanna kinda touch more on the intimate care side as well. You talked about it, but I do wanna go back to that because I think that is a super important issue, especially for women, with PCOS, now PMOS. But, again, looking at the whole picture and, the hormones are disrupted and they're dealing with other issues, typically, women with PCOS that, make those intimate moments even more difficult, So, yeah, how does that kind of fit into the conversation, or can you go deeper, into
Mhm.
that piece?
Well, I'll first say that, when we started Greenview, we were a couple years into it, and it was our customers who were coming to us saying, "Can I use this for intimate purposes?" And at first we thought, "Well, this is kind of strange." And then finally, like, friends and family came clean, and they're like, "Yeah, we've kind of been using the dry skincare. We're just wondering." And I thought, "Okay." So my sister and I said, "We need to look at this space more clearly." And we found the same parallels as we did in the first aid that the natural consumer was willing to abandon their natural ethos. And the conventional consumer was like, I just want something that works better because a lot of these ingredients that we've been used to, they're actually pulling the moisture out of the skin. And then it's causing more perpetual dryness and
Yeah.
reduced sensitivity as a result of the formulas that we've been exposed to. And so we thought, well, all right, let's bring our plant-based infusion and let's see if we can come up with better solutions. And I often give people the example of like, when you blow up a balloon and then you take some air out and you blow it up and then you take some air out and you do that a couple of times, all of a sudden, like your balloon just looks really sad. Well,
Mhm.
that's our cells on drugs. That's our cell being exposed to these things. It's sad. Of course, it's reducing its sensitivity. And our most intimate areas, those tissues absorb at a very high rate. And so it's going straight into our system and so deeply connected to our endocrine system and our
Yeah.
hormone balancing. I
Yeah.
mean, if that's the one place where you have the most connection. And already, especially if you're suffering from PCOS and PMEOS,
PMOS.
PMOS, um, you,
Mm.
you're having some of these symptoms already more pervasive,
Mhm.
and so this is a great opportunity to change that for you, and so when you feed your skin the nutrients that it needs and loves and wants, all of a sudden that cell no longer looks like that sad balloon, and it truly actually increases sensitivity. It's the coolest thing. And so, our all of our formulas are infused with calendula flowers to add antifungal, anti-yeast, antimicrobial properties. But then, in addition to that, has skin repair and moisturizing properties to it, along with things like coconut oil and various other herbs, depending on what we're looking for.
Mhm.
But this is an area where I just so encourage to discontinue any of those harmful chemicals that you're bringing into your system because not only is it localized in terms of your skin health, but then how quickly it is going to f- contribute to that negative feedback loop of
Mhm.
the inflammation and the hormone miscommunication and misfiring that's happening. Because again, we go back to these endocrine disruptors are either blocking your hormone production or mimicking it. And then your body has to respond in a different way of which hormone should I be releasing, which again comes back to that insulin sensitivity and then your metabolism being compromised. So again, like you can, number one, stop contributing to the negative feedback loop. Number two, contribute goodness and like positive things to that feedback so it can further accelerate your wellness in a positive way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. I feel like we could probably talk about this forever. Um, any last notes or thoughts that you'd like to add?
I think it just comes back to feeling empowered instead of feeling disarmed. Because again, the same way you're being inundated with buy this, do this,
Mm,
that can be so overwhelming with what should I do? What should I do next? And where do I start? So start with empowering yourself and just really getting grounded and centered. Explore shaman in your world. And then you can start peeling back the things that don't serve you because very quickly, the same way you went on your retreat and you came back into your regular setting, you brought those things forward with you.
mm,
And when you get grounded and you feel that sense of empowerment, your body knows what to do. Your body will guide you into, you know what? That is not going to serve me. I do not need that. And you'll be surprised when you start avoiding some of these other ingredients and you introduce new things, the cost actually goes down because no longer do you have all this like one time stuff and things you need to
yeah.
use more. Like I tell people, like our balms, like the more you use them, the less you need them. You apply lotion on all day long. You will get to a point where you will salve up. You will do what I call sanctuary Sunday, and you just like salve up from head to toe, and you put your bathrobe on, and you just like let your skin drink it up. You can do that once a week. You will get to that place where you built your skin barrier to a place where like you just don't need it as much. And so it
Yeah.
goes a lot further.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, thank you so, so much. Last question is how can people connect with you, find you, and also find the products?
Greengoo.com. That's the best spot. You can find us on Amazon as well.
Awesome.
And feel free to find me at LinkedIn too, Jodi A. Scott, but you can email me at the website and you'll find me.
Mhm.
And I welcome the discussion. I'd love to help.
Awesome. Yes, of course, I'll link everything in the show notes as well. But thank you so, so much. Oh my gosh, like I said, I feel like we could probably just talk about this topic all day. But
Thank you.
yeah, but I appreciate you taking the time to be here. I absolutely loved chatting with Jodi. I'll be sure to link everything in the show notes if you'd like to connect with her. And if you're enjoying the podcast, come join us inside the Healthy Ever After app. It's where we continue the conversation with community, recipes, resources, and exclusive content. Plus, you'll currently get my free Summer Sanity Guide just for joining. The link is in the show notes. And if you love this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because healing doesn't come from doing more, it comes from understanding better. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you on the next episode of PCOS Unfiltered. Nourish, Heal, Thrive.